Hello and welcome. This is Alchemist X, and this is the week of Valentine's Day. However, there is no Valentine's content in TAGA. I'll probably talk about that later when I'm doing the summoning part. There's a few things I want to talk about then, like Torito's Ultra Class and how viable I think it is. But for now, let's stay focused on the brand new Memento that just came out. And it is a Lustberg themed Memento, similar to the Northern Pride and the Greed one that came out previously. Targets multiple units, so it's meant to be more of a catch-all, assuming that you use the units that are targeted by it. And those units are going to be Moa, Ennis, Mieliki, and Rachel. And they will have different buffs, max limit break bonuses, depending on which unit it is. So Moa is going to focus on her damage via P attack, light all attack, and strong versus male. And then she's going to get an extra skill use count, which if you're using her for tankiness purposes, then that is great, because that's another turn long guts plus agility down to just have her keep tanking. As long as something doesn't remove buffs or take away guts, then she can be invincible for even longer. Now, Rachel I think is a little less good. Of course, more damage is always nice via the Thunder All attack. The other two things it gives are Strike Res and Magic Res, which is good to have, but I really wish that it gave her range +1 instead of agility +10 for the max limit break bonus. But, I don't know, she does have a lot of range already, so maybe that was the thinking behind it. But if there's anything I've learned from Ophinius, you can never have too much range. Well, until you get to the edge of the map, but, you know, I figured that was a given. Then both Mieliki and Ennis are going to have debuff duration +1 as their max limit break bonus. And then for Mieliki, she's going to get damage, tankiness, and a skill use count boost without having to max limit break it. And then Ennis is going to get more HP, more agility, strike res, so just make her a little bit tanky. So overall, it's pretty good value. If you use all four of the units already, very high value. If you only use one of them, definitely less so. But if that one unit you use is Moa, then it's a pretty significant boost to her kit. So for the Vision Clear ability, you're going to get a 5-turn buff that is going to both increase your strength against and defense against male units. And then a HP and M attack bonus too, which are both 40%. And moving on to the VCR, stats on it are pretty solid because you'll get move +1, strike attack power +20, M attack power +20, healing +20, and strong versus male +20. So overall, pretty solid. And then for the vision ability, you're going to get to take lethal damage once, and then get strike attack, M attack power, and healing up. So overall, very solid. And then on top of that, if you get under 25% HP or less, you get an extra buff duration. So overall good, but I wouldn't call any of that must-have. So let's go ahead and take a look at the banners. And here we are at the banners. So we'll start with the brand new Memento. As usual, 9-step with a selector. You could do worse as far as the pool goes. If you're a big fan of Rachel, then having her second Memento on here is nice. And then if you really like Moa, she really needs her first Memento, especially the VCR from it, to be really good. So you could potentially knock out a few birds with one stone here. Otherwise, it's your typical 9-step. So is this one for Northern Pride. Something to think about if you are a really big fan of Torito and you've got her maxed out, doing the Ultra Class, you want her to be as good as it can possibly be, then this Memento is going to be a little bit more appealing. Otherwise, definitely not must-have. Then we get a banner for Rachel. This is the usual guarantee the unit on step 5, normal pool Memento on step 9 with enough shards to really max them out along the way. Very good unit overall. I don't think she's like overpowered by any sense of the word, but she does good damage. She can do it from far away. She's got knockback. There's a reason that she is part of the team in the Nidhogg Phantom Manifestation level. Kind of shows her value there. The only real downside is that as a strike unit, she doesn't have a ton of synergy in Thunder, just because in general, Pierce is by far the strongest if you're not doing magic. But sometimes type damage diversity is good to have, and if you're going to have one Thunderstrike unit, then she makes a really good one. Let's move on to the popularity banners. So these are just pickup banners. Sadly, they have the standard rate of 2.5% as opposed to the boosted rate that we'd gotten as part of the anniversary. I think that kind of sucks because the popularity thing was kind of done alongside the anniversary, but they didn't extend the slightly better rate to that. As much as that sucks, the pool of units is very, very good. You can pick 6, and then hopefully you get them. If you don't get them, that sucks, but at least you have some coins. And the pool either way, for the male units or for the female units, they're all really, really good. It's hard to go wrong with the units that are available here. Definitely a good choice for discount tickets if you're not interested in Phantom of the Kill. There's also one for their mementos. This one's not split up, so just picks the 6 that you want, and then you can get a selector if you go 10 steps in. If there's one of these that's been particularly eluding you, especially if it's Ainz, like if you wanted to get Ainz but you couldn't get his memento because you got drained from your gems, now you have gems again. I think a 10 step to get his memento is not a bad price to pay, especially given that you could get potentially several other mementos that are really good along the way. Oh, the gear. I actually do want to talk about the gear for just a moment. It does give you knockback resistance plus 100, so that's very, very good. It will lower your resistances to side attacks and back attacks, but it also gives you bonuses to single target and area attack. So overall, it's good for tanks and just a good anti-disruption gear too. So if you've got the gems to spare, you could definitely do worse, especially because I don't have the Christmas scarf that they had from the holiday raid at some point. And a gear that prevents knockbacks, very, very good to have. Still a luxury, but good to have. Okay, now let's move into the Phantom of the Kill stuff. Now, of course, the thing that I imagine most people will be waiting for is going to be Tyrfing Link's banner. Same as it was before, just guaranteed on step 20. Definitely expensive, and it sucks that there's no TAGA pay, but I think that she has proven her worth both in the arena and looking at the clear data of hell levels to say she's just so hard to kill that it's hard to go wrong with her. So if you have enough gems, she is certainly a very, very good option. And then as an added bonus, her memento is a little bit cheaper than they normally are, being a 5-step guarantee. As far as other options, there is the pickup banner for all of the other Phantom of the Kill units. As you can see, I have done quite a few steps on this, and the video will end showcasing how those 7 steps went. But overall, there are only a few units I think that are really worth going for on this banner. Not a few, but like more than 6. So if there were less than 6, it wouldn't really be worth chasing as much. But pretty much anybody that's Tiferet or newer, it's hard to go wrong with them overall. Some are more impactful than others depending on what their element, what their damage type is. Obviously Ragnarok is amazing. Lisanot can be really, really good to have. Grand Pia is the only one who I don't know a ton about her because she was never in Global. I don't have her. And she's a Dark Pierce unit, so there's definitely some good potential synergies with units like Kudenstein. But any of the flyers, though, like if I was going to recommend this to someone, like put every flyer on the pickup because they're just really, really good units to have. Really good for autoing content, setting yourself up for auto repeat. So can't go wrong with a unit who gets an extra turn on a kill and then can also overcome tons and tons of height barriers. And you get 200 coins per step instead of 100, and the rate is doubled to 5% instead of 2.5. So be wary that it's still a pickup banner, but at least you got a couple of things in your favor that way. And then insofar as their mementos go, it is a 5-step repeating with a guarantee on step 5. However, due to some translation issues, I'm not sure exactly whether or not the step 5 is one that you can choose or not, because the first time I translated it, it just said 1 Phantom of the Kill memento guaranteed. And then when I was looking over the news page and translating that, it said selection in the 1 selection guaranteed. And then it does have on the icon a little selection icon. So it looks like you get to step 5 and you pick the one that you want and then you get it. I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I don't know 100%. So if anybody has already done this banner, if you can confirm that in the comments, I'll make it a pinned comment, and then then we'll all know for sure. But I can only go off of what I've been inferring from what's given here, because naturally, if you can select the one that you want on step 5, it's much, much better. If you're completely at the mercy of RNG, it's not very good. So it's around for the rest of the month. So if we get one more discount ticket, and if I have enough gems to completely close it out, then I might end up doing this on the last week of the month and grab Yggdrasil's Memento if I can guarantee it. But let's keep moving here. The full raising banner, or full raising unit banner, is definitely okay if you are brand new, even though none of the like Dark Phantom princess units are particularly impactful anymore. If you're new enough, any unit being completely maxed out is going to be really, really helpful for clearing content, because you have a lot of content you need to get through. You need to like speed run through chapter 5. There's going to be tons and tons of event quests to burn through, and just a single fully enlightened unit can just pretty much clear the way all the way from everything that is like, you know, all the way like pre-enlightenment, all the way from the Gate 3 era, and then probably a decent chunk of Gate 5 era stuff, and then they won't start running into trouble until they get to Gate 7. So for me, when I was new in JP, I chose Dark Masamune, and while I don't use her too much anymore, unless it's like a really specific monofire situation, the amount of content that she got me through was worth the 500 gems that I spent to get her. So if you're in that position, it can be worth it. But if you're a veteran, you probably don't need to worry about this banner. And then finally, the Valentines banner is still going. I don't really recommend this. If you wanted one of these, there were better opportunities to get it via the Memento selector banners. So yeah, that is it. Definitely a little bit more to talk about than usual because there's so many banners. But now I'm going to jump into summoning on the Phantom of the Kill pickup banner. Okay, so this is my selection. Got Yggdrasil, who is a dupe, and then Granpew because I'm curious about her, and then 4 flyers. Ragnarok would be the most ideal because I have her first Memento already, and then I also I feel like I have the most need in fire right now, and she is definitely going to be good in a fire team. So red, that is a good sign. So just real quick, I want to talk about the lack of Valentine stuff. I just find it as a red flag, just by itself. The decrease in event content that we've had last year, like no wedding or white day stuff last year, and then this year not having a Valentine's event or Memento. You know, it's not the end of the world by itself. It's very possible that they just want to put their focus into finishing the main story, but then that makes me wonder why they want to do that, and then also, well, what happens when the main story is finished? So it's one of those things where it does seem like the game is at least on a downward slope, even if it's a very soft and gentle slope for the time being. So luckily that is something that could change in the future. I'll just have to watch the event schedule and see what's going on with that. What I'm really wanting to know though is if they are going to start anything new that's more serialized content, like something equivalent to Ancient Story. If they are willing to do that, then that would go a long way to restore my faith that the game isn't on its way to being closed down, even if it takes a while, like maybe a year or year and a half, something like that. So that's all I really had to say about that subject. So let's move on to Torito. It wasn't like, I'm not gonna like talk about my opinion on her or anything like that. To be honest, I don't really have one. My Torito is not even close to being max limit broken, let alone enlightened enough to clear her altar class stage. So that's not something I'm gonna have access to for a while. I have never really been sold on her, nor Sacred Knights in general as a class. It's something I never really used them, so that can be a bias on my part. I just, did pretty much everything there was to do in global, and then for Japan, I'm not quite there yet. There's some things like Negrito and Veda Hard that I haven't finished yet, but overall, I've never really relied on the Sacred Knight class, but they do have a very clear design in that they are an anti-magic tank that, and at least in Torito's case, is also designed to do some damage on the side. So she does have a lot of tools in her kit that seem like they could really help her, especially in a light team, and there's going to be some synergy there with, a couple of the best light units that I can think of are going to be slash users, so she could fit right in with them as long as you've got room. I would imagine a Dios Andex Riza Torito team could do some really good things. But let's go over some of the changes in her alter class from her job plus. So for her move that consumes her HP to heal allies, it adds a buff for slashing attack power that's an until you attack 2 times, which that's a really good way to do buffs. Also, these pulls have been really terrible. There was an absolute lie of a downloading and then another yellow, but that's okay. We're still got a little ways to go. The next change is going to be in her move that is a light attribute slash attack on the targets in range. It's an all attack down, light attribute resistance, and slash resistance down. So very, very good if she's working to help out other units that already do a ton of damage. And it should stack with Riza's debuffs too. Then she has an attack that ignores both defense and it also ignores positional damage reduction. So that way, if you've got somebody who for whatever reason is like buffing, maybe you're trying to attack somebody like Vettel who will do, and not that attacking Vettel with a slash is a good idea, but somebody who's got like a big front-facing attack bonus up, so it's hard to damage them, and like, you know, they're wedged in somewhere you can only attack them from the front. Well, then you can ignore that. So that's kind of cool. It depends on if her modifiers are good for that move to really mean anything. But yeah, I'm curious to know what, for those of you who absolutely love Torito, what your take on that is. Now, the next move is going to be universally good because it interrupts casting, it grants alchemy down, and reduces magic attack for 3 turns. And extends casting time. So this is just an anti-mage move. Even if her modifiers aren't good, this is a good move. Just because of the sheer number of things that it does. And just very successful at accomplishing the goal of her class. Now, as far as I can tell, nothing on her basic skill has changed at all. Just the same old swap position of allies, healing, slash attack, shield allies. Her reactive, on the other hand, is going to give you a auto jewel healing, or activate jewel auto healing effect, and then 1 turn debuff effect and skill attack on self. I think that means... I thought that I had read that before as it makes her immune to debuffs for 1 turn, but I could be wrong about that. That might just be a weird translation moment. And then chance to reduce damage by percentage when taking Oracle of Salvation damage, which is also potentially cool. And then when she's 80% or less, she gets some other bonuses too. And then one of her passives is really good because it's just kind of everything under the sun that she wants, which is going to be, you know, magic resistance, speed, slash attack, movement power, greatly increased physical attack, demon attack, and greatly reduced consumption of HP, consumption skills. So overall, really good stuff. Finally got a red, and it's got 2 reds after so many yellows in a row. So yeah, I don't know. She seems like she could be good as a support damage hybrid, but it really depends on how good her damage is. Can you justify putting her in? She's at a bit of a disadvantage because of units like Riza. Okay, look, we finally got a good pull. It only took 7 tries, but yeah, that is really, really good by itself. That's halfway to gate 7, and then even better. So yeah, that is really, really relief, because ideally this would have happened by step 5, because now I'm going to end up with about 400 coins that I'm not totally sure how to use. Maybe just buy way overpriced shards of either her or Yggdrasil. But I have Ragnarok now, and that does make me very, very happy. So yeah, so it was really, really bad until it got really, really good. I hope that if you are doing this, you have slightly better luck than me, or at least more efficient. And with that, I will see you all next time.